Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/MaliciousCompliance. The manager with an inferiority complex who made life miserable for our OP got what he deserved in our first story. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I used to work here. Now solve your own problems. A little over a decade ago, I worked for the local hardware outfit as a storeman/store manager. I took the job because it was local, paid okay, and was supposed to be relatively stress-free. Unfortunately, the reality of it was that the assistant manager, Colin, was a jerk with an inferiority complex who had it in for me because I was more qualified than he was, although I had absolutely no interest in climbing the corporate ladder or taking his job. The job itself was overtasked and understaffed, and things were only getting busier as there was a building boom happening in the area at the time. As a result, I quickly ended up being run off my feet every day trying to keep up with the constant influx of goods and outgoing orders. To make matters worse, the overall manager, John, decided to reassign my two offsiders as delivery staff, leaving me on my own. When I protested, I was told to solve my own problems. I somehow kept up with the workload, but knowing this was not going to work in the long run, I continued in my attempts to get more staff in my area. Even just one offsider would have made a huge difference. I tried reasoning with John, saying, "What if I get sick or injured? How will you get the orders done then?" His solution was that he would have some of the casual staff from the front retail area fill in if that happened. I laughed in his face and suggested that they couldn't find their own butts using both hands. Probably not the best way to handle things. Once again, I was told to solve my own problems. Okay then, fine, I'll do just that. The situation continued, becoming more difficult each week. The incoming goods were increasing in volume to keep up with the demand, think 2 semi-trailers per day, and as outgoing orders were to take priority, the incoming goods began piling up. Colin decided to rear his ugly head and make a fuss about stock not being checked in and stored on time, and in one of our more robust discussions, I seriously considered rearranging his face and told him so. He decided to go on an early lunch, run away, and hid from me in his office for the rest of the week. That was the day I realized I need to get out of this place. As for solving my problems, well, obviously I was looking for a new job. I answered an ad for correctional officers and attended a meeting for applicants, then sat the psych tests, interviews, and was finally accepted for the training to begin in 1 month. Perfect timing. The next Monday, I walked into John's office and gave 2 weeks' notice. John was absolutely appalled that I would consider leaving such a good job. He tried offering me a raise of $1,000 per year. I laughed and said my starting pay was already $15,000 more than I was getting here, and walked out. Now, you'd think a smart manager would immediately take steps to cover my position and begin training a replacement. Nope. Nothing happened for the next week and a half until on my last Thursday, John finally showed up with a replacement, some entirely forgettable teenager who plainly had no chance of keeping up. I trained him as best I could, and the next day said my goodbyes. 2 months later, I walked in as a customer, flush with my new job money. The place was an utter mess. There was crap everywhere, unprocessed goods still in sealed boxes, pallets of sheeting just dumped in the truck yard, and no one could find anything. The original guy I trained was nowhere to be seen, and 4 new young guys with haunted-looking faces were madly scrambling about, trying to sort their crap out. No one knew where anything was, where anything goes, or even how to do a basic invoice check. Total disaster, which brought a warm glow to my evil black told-you-so heart. Upon seeing me, John quickly pulled me aside and asked if I could help out and show the new guys what to do. I took great pleasure in reminding him that I had repeatedly warned him that this could happen, and that I no longer work here, but that he'll have to, and I quote, solve your own problems. I saw that end coming, and it warmed my heart when it did. And our second story. So I let you have the bigger rental space, and you put your stuff in mine? 'Cause yours is too messy? For backstory, a few years back, I had lots of trouble finding a flat. Since it would be my first one and had a job barely covering my expenses, I was unbelievably grateful to get a small rental flat from a nice lady who was renting out for the first time since her aunt died and inherited the 2 flats she bought. This included a bigger flat the aunt was living in, a smaller one right beside it she rented out, 2 storage spaces, and 2 parking spaces. The original renter of my flat moved to the bigger flat the aunt was living in, and even though my storage space would have been the bigger one since it was planned out to be the one for my flat, I agreed to take the one of the aunt since it saved time and hassle for my neighbor and would allow me to move my stuff in earlier. The same neighbor also left the flat pretty dirty, but as I said, I was just happy to actually have found a place to live in. Another important thing to mention that this storage unit is not very secure. They're really just see-through fences that are covered up with random pieces of wood or old doors and cardboard to provide some privacy. The locking mechanism barely rusted away, so it was easy to open it up, even though it was still locked. Another interesting fact is that one storage unit that's completely see-through was standing completely empty and unoccupied due to reasons I don't know. It's not locked and free for anyone to enter. Fast forward to a few weeks prior. My boyfriend's now living with me, and for his birthday, he gets a €600 laundry dryer from his stepdad, and due to place issues in the flat, we have to put it in the storage space. We didn't think anything of it, since our apartment complex is mostly privately owned by nice old people, so we didn't worry at all that someone could try to steal it. However, one nice evening, my boyfriend returns bewildered from collecting the laundry off the dryer. BF, did you get new tires for the car? Me. No, why? BF. Well, there's a set of 5 new tires in our storage. After a bit of investigation, we see what happened. Someone had removed the chain that semi-fixed the rusted lock, moved our new €600 dryer aside, further into our crammed storage, put their new set of tires in, and reattached the chain. We instantly put them out of our storage and reattached the chain properly and permanently. But now there's one question. Who broke into our property? Now, my boyfriend knows a lot more about cars than me, so he notices that there was a new car in the otherwise empty parking spot of our neighbor. He seemingly got a car. The tires are the exact size as the ones that appeared in our storage. So my boyfriend knocked at my neighbor's door and asked if he might have noticed someone breaking into storages last night. The neighbor actually had the audacity to tell him that it was in fact him and that he wanted to notify us but forgot. And that his storage is too messed up and it would have been his storage anyways, so he figured it'd be okay. On why he didn't just put it in the free unit, he actually told him that anyone could access that. Why he thought that nobody would be able to enter our storage the same way he did was beyond me. I was livid as my boyfriend told me about this, but he wasn't finished telling me about their conversation. My boyfriend is a fast-thinking person who, if need be, could think of excuses and made up points in no time at all on the spot. So in order to give that guy a tiny bit of a lesson, he told him something like this. Oh, then you better collect from them fast. We already put tires in the for free section on Facebook. There were 2 people already interested. Neighbor then supposedly goes pale in the face at this point. My boyfriend promised to take out the ad that never existed in the first place if he'd get the tires away from our storage now. Even though I would have gone ape crap on that guy, I had a fair laugh at his expense, and the tires vanished not 2 hours later from the entrance to our unit. Saw the guy in the hallway yesterday? He didn't dare to even look at me. Smartest thing he did in a while. And our next story. I got my justice today. To set the stage, I just turned 30. I have a good job, spend my money wisely, save and invest. I grew up dirt poor and had nothing handed to me in life. Late 20s, the software company I'd been at went public, and I cashed out and moved back home to Florida. With nothing to do, I started investing in rental properties with a good friend of mine. This started about a year ago with the president of an HOA where I purchased 2 condos. This is a man in his late 60s. Thinks he's the second coming of Jesus. From the get-go, he made comments about being young and buying houses, why my parents weren't co-signing, or must be nice to have a trust fund. Both properties have existing tenants. One still there, one left. My business model has been to completely remodel every property between tenants to get the maximum rental income. Construction was hell. Literally everything was a problem. Dumpster smelled, contractors leaving at 5:05 p.m., being accused of not pulling permits, You name it, the HOA president tried to meddle his way in. I submitted 6 rental applications, all got denied. I was never given a reason, but the board was happy to cash my application fees. I got my company's attorney involved. It took 6 months and many wasted days in a courtroom, but we finally got the books. I had a family friend go through them and found some inconsistencies. I'll save the long story, but many thousands of dollars and hundreds of wasted hours this idiot and his 2 crony board members were stealing from the bank account. He was writing fake invoices to his own company. My magician attorney was able to get text logs of them discussing blocking my apps. Mainly, they wanted me to dump the property so they could buy it. Now to the justice boner. We won a sizable judgment against him personally. The HOA's E&O insurance subrogated him, and today he put his house up for sale, the house he'd been living in for 30 years. To throw salt on the wound, I put in an offer of 60% what asking was, though I doubt I'll get a response. The best part, we offered to settle for a fraction months ago. We were even willing to include a non-disclosure. The idiot told us to pound sand at every turn. So Mr. HOA President, F you, I won. Stupid trust fund baby won, and you lost. Sorry for the rant. None of my friends or family care about it. They all told me to just walk away. I figured you all may enjoy it. And our last short story. Mom's petty revenge. So this happened to my mom, but I'm sorta in the story as well. When I got baptized, my parents made the decision for the baptism to be small and immediate family only. So it was my parents, older sister, baby me, my grandparents, and my godparents. One of my aunts on my dad's side got all upset because she wasn't invited and said something to my mom about it. Now every time we have a party or an event that she's invited to, my mom will handwrite in gold ink her invitation. It's a very small petty revenge, but when my mom told me, I thought it was the funniest thing I've heard her do. That's hilarious. I love your mom. I'd probably also pay someone to hand deliver it in one of those old-fashioned medieval messenger costumes with full trumpet, pomp and circumstance, pomp and ceremony, because, you know, it's official and all. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.